Today is the Indonesian Day of Independence, and what better way to spend it than in the place I really love, that's really Indonesian style, here in Bali, and it's Denpasar. So of course I'm going to start off at Jenar Kopi, which is one of my favourite places in Denpasar. Get a coffee first and then decide which direction I'm going to head today. If you've watched my videos before, you'll know what sort of place this is. It's just like a shed. But they do really good coffee and a few snacks as well at a good price, and it's a favourite nongkrong spot for Indonesian people here in Denpasar. So the good thing about this place, they do good donuts as well. I didn't get one today because they're out of stock, which has happened a few times when I've been here. Coffee's 27,000 plus 10% tax. And the 10% tax, I think it used to be called PB1. I think they might have changed the name now, but that PB1, it is a tax of 10% or up to 10% that is charged in hospitality businesses by local governments at the Kabupaten level or the regency level. So the regency here is Kota Denpasar, but if you're in sort of Kuta Legian Seminyak, that is Badung. And they actually get the money, the 10% on all of these bills. That's not the only source of money for these governments. They've got sources of money from all other parts of the country. For example, they get direct money coming down from the central government above them. So what happens is that some government areas are richer than others because they are heavily reliant on these tourism, they're not tourism taxes, these hospitality taxes. So for example, Badung covers all of Uluwatu, Jimbaran, Kuta Legian Seminyak, and parts of Canggu as well. And then it even goes inland a bit, quite a way up the mountain. They get a massive revenue. They're one of the richest governments going, Kabupaten governments going. Where the money goes, well, that's another story. Denpasar not as big, but it is a bigger one because it's got Sanur in it, and it also has Kota Denpasar, which is a wealthy part of Bali. So they get a bit more money than the average, but still not as rich as Badung, which is the real big one. Sometimes you'll even get a service charge on some bills, and that money is supposed to go to the staff. And the service charge is supposed to be applied prior to the PB1. So say if the service charge was 5%, what would happen? Okay, thank you, yeah.
Bothering you, no?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. So the way it would work, say if you had something for 10,000 and there's a 5% tax on it, the 5% tax is 500. And then on top of that, you put the PB1, which is the government tax, which then comes to 1,050 on top of, rather than being applied separately to the base amount, if you know what I mean. That looks good. Size of it's good. I know it's going to be good.
Mantap.
And it is good. It's a wonderful coffee. One of my favourites around the place. One of my favourites. I mean, if you don't like cigarette smoke, you might not like this place. I don't smoke, but it doesn't bother me either to get a big cloud of smoke in my face. But if it bothers you, it could be problematic in this place because most people do, well, a lot of people do smoke. But that's sort of one of the reasons I like it, because it is a little bit old school and it's very casual, very Indonesian style. I do love it. As I was lining up for that coffee, I had a local come up to me and say, what are you doing? I said, I'm making a video. He goes, why are you here in Denpasar? I said, it's one of my favourite areas in Bali. He goes, really? I said, yeah, well, for me, it's the real Indonesia. He goes, betul. Betul sekali. Because it is. It has a really good feel about it for me. It can take a bit getting used to, and it can be a bit confronting if you're not really used to it. But I think once you sort of hammer away at that initial discomfort, it can be quite a wonderful place to wander around. I certainly love it. I certainly do. It can be confronting. I think that's the thing. Like, I remember when I first went to a big Indonesian city, Yogyakarta. For me, that was pretty confronting, and there was a bit of anxiety and there was one side of me that loved it, the excitement, because there is a lot of excitement, but there's another side which is a little bit, there's a bit of discomfort there. Once you get past that discomfort thing, geez, it's such a great thing to explore these Indonesian cities. They do have a bad reputation in the tourism world, mainly because they are confronting and big and chaotic and difficult to navigate, especially without language. But once you get past that, they are brilliant. I think I've probably explained it before. There's a thing called QRIS, which I paid for, or is the method I paid here, or used to pay here. It's a QR code method of payment, which is popular in Southeast Asia, popular in China as well, but there's something in particular about this particular system called, well, it's supposed to be pronounced Kris, like the, the dagger. It's supposed to be pronounced Kris, but most locals say QRIS. And the letter Q in Indonesian, it should be pronounced Ki. So it should be Kiris. But anyway, they use the English letter Q, QRIS. The way it works is it generally works from a local bank account, or you can actually set it up through Gojek, the app as well. And what happens is you get your phone and you scan the QR code that someone gives you, and then it will deduct the amount that you've scanned from the QR code from your bank account or your Gojek account. The thing about it is that's interesting is that those QR codes are interoperable, that's a hard word to say, interoperable throughout Southeast Asia. So, and this is theoretically, because I know I've tried it before and it sometimes doesn't work, but I can go to Malaysia, scan one of their QR codes, and I can use my app, my Indonesian app, and it will deduct it from there. Or go to Thailand, same story. It's supposed to be cross-border payments. It does work sometimes, not all the time, so they've got a few bugs to iron out. The thing about it though, why they use that, they prefer to use that rather than tapping a debit card or a credit card, is because when you tap, you're going through the payment system of Visa or MasterCard, which is a foreign company, which charges a fee which locals don't believe is fair. So with Kris, there's a really, really low transaction charge, so that most operators here would not tack on an extra fee for using it. It's something like 0.3%. It's very, very small. Whereas with Visa, they might charge a flat fee of like 3,000 plus 3% or something. And can really, eat into margins on small transactions, which a lot of these Kris or QRIS transactions are used for. Like you can go to a warung or a gerobak and you might have a QRIS and you buy something for 10,000 and it doesn't really eat into his profit. So it's very popular, very popular. It's one of the most popular payment systems going, and they're sort of skipping the whole tap thing. You can't even do Apple Pay in Indonesia from an Indonesian bank account. Let's move on. It's Independence Day, so it's Hari Kemerdekaan. And if you say it fast, like I will try now, it doesn't usually sound legit. So if I go Hari Kemerdekaan, there you go, Hari Kemerdekaan, I miss the R a little bit because I've got this Australian accent which misses the R. And the way that I normally do my R's is to roll them so that they're really heard. Whereas in Australian English, our R's are usually dropped. And it causes problems. Americans get that a little bit easier because they have a really strong R sound. So it's really Kemerdekaan, so that works. Yeah. So Hari Kemerdekaan. You'll notice the root word of Kemerdekaan, like it's got the KE at the start and the AN at the end, which means there's a root word in there called Merdeka. So you can always tell when you have that KE at the start and an AN at the end that there is a root word in there. And Merdeka loosely translates to independent or free. But it has a lot of baggage attached to it. It's not just like freedom from jail. It's like a more of a moral freedom or freedom from oppression, which was the whole movement of independence in Indonesia, was freedom of oppression from the Dutch colonists. So that's where the term Merdeka has a lot of feeling behind it, like really incredible feeling. So you just don't throw it around willy-nilly. Try and cross the road here. You'll see here there's a banner of the activities that are going on around this area today and yesterday. And it says, memperingati, HUT RI ke-81. So, it's a bit of a mouthful. The important part to that, HUT RI stands for Hari Ulang Tahun Republik Indonesia. It's a very common abbreviation of today, and they'll usually, after that, say what year it is, or how many years since independence it's been. And the KE is almost like our TH on the end of a word. So if we say 40th, we'll put a TH. Well, they all do KE at the start and then the number. So if they say KE 81, that means ke-81. Yeah, means the 81st year. This park is a classic one where they're all main chatur here. And often on, they'll do live music over there on weekends. Today's a public holiday, so there are those activities that they sort of mentioned on that banner back there happening later today. I'm a little bit early for those. The thing about Independence Day here in Indonesia is that people are quite nationalistic about it, and it's to do with how the country was formed. It was formed after a struggle. And here we go. Kilometer 0, the centre of Denpasar. So this struggle involved people dying for the cause to get independence. And after Indonesia gained its independence, of course, they needed to forge a national identity, because before that, there wasn't really an Indonesia. It was just a bunch of colonies of the Dutch. And if you lived in, for example, West Java, you didn't speak Indonesian, you spoke Sundanese. Or if you lived in East Java, you probably spoke the local language there, whether it's Javanese or the language of Banyuwangi or in Madura. So it really depended on where you lived as to what sort of you identified with. You identified more with your suku than you did for like a nation, because it was the Dutch that was running the show. And whereas when Indonesia became a country, got people coming along the foot, but this is supposed to be the footpath. They've got barriers up, but the motorbikes are coming down here. Hang on, I've got a green light here. I shouldn't get run over if I go on the green light, but I might, so I've got to be careful. There we go. Yeah, so forging that national identity, of course, means you've got to teach everyone your new language, which is Bahasa Indonesia, and most people wouldn't have known it. You have to then start creating a bunch of heroes that everyone sort of can get behind. You have to really celebrate the National Day and really forge a strong sense of national unity. So that's why people love it. People love it. I mean, it's similar in America, I think. People love that 4th of July thing, whereas in Australia, I don't think it's as... it's not as strong. Am I going to be... This is dangerous. It looks like an electricity cable. Yeah, it's not as strong because the struggle in Australia wasn't... Well, there wasn't really a struggle. Australia just got its sort of independence, didn't it? When I first started coming to Indonesia, I always thought that Indonesians would hate the Dutch because of how they were brutalised and enslaved and so forth during those 350 years of occupation. But it's not the case. Yeah, Indonesians are very, very welcoming to Dutch people. And they feel that they've got an affinity with the Dutch people. I mean, it makes sense because a lot of the Dutch stuff or culture did find its way into Indonesian society. A lot of words are Dutch. A lot of the foods are Dutch. They might even look Indonesian, but they're not really. They're from the Dutch side of things. So, yeah, it's an odd one, really. Odd one. Actually, when that running club drama happened like a month ago, and the two founders were having this sort of colonist attitude towards Indonesia, when they were found out to have been Dutch, everyone went, there you go, it's the Dutch, you know. That's why the Indonesians didn't like what happened there. And you know what? It's not the issue at all. Like, the Dutch thing is not really an issue here. It's just they don't like colonialism here. They don't want to be under the thumb of a foreign power. In fact, they don't want to be under the thumb of anyone that's in, taking undue power, including their own people. Which is why there is uprisings every now and then when they feel that the governments are getting out of hand. Whether it be from corruption or spending too much money or petrol prices going up or the price of food going up, they will protest violently. And if there is one of those protests, don't go there and try and get involved. Just avoid at all costs. Some of you might remember, maybe, was it last year? I think it might have been. There was a custom motorcycle event on called Custom War up in Padang Galak that I went to, run by a sort of a group called Naskleeng 13. It's karaoke. Love it, love the karaoke. Reminds me of a story I've got to tell you one day. Anyway, so Naskleeng is a swear word in Balinese. 13 means 13. That's sort of like the collective that embraces a particular culture here in Bali regarding custom motorcycles, skateboarding, tattoos, art, all of that wrapped into a particular culture here in Bali, and they're the people who operated Custom War. Well, apparently they also have a shop and a cafe. So I want to see if I can find that today. It might be closed because it's the Independence Day, but we'll have a look anyway because I'm really interested in that whole scene. I think it's really something that's quite unique here in Indonesia, which you don't really get anywhere else in the world because the culture's different. So of course there's custom motorcycles everywhere in the world, but here in Bali it's just a little bit different because obviously the scene's different. And I really like the aspect of it here, the art that goes along with it here in Bali, because obviously the Balinese are so artistic and it's just a little bit different. That's a good place. Kyoto Country Club, go there, great cafe doing good coffee and good, I was going to say Japanese food, but it's like Japanese inspired food. When I first moved to Bandung and moved into the little village I was in, the kampung, in a basic house, local house, and I was just learning language at a language school there. That's going back quite a few years now. It was 15 years. And of course, none of the local people could speak any English. I'm talking zero English. But every Saturday night, I could hear this sound in the village going off. And there were some locals that would bust out a guitar, or a couple of guitars, and they had this printed out song lyrics from like all the old bands, like the Beatles and stuff. And they would know by heart how to play them on the instruments, and then they would sing the lyrics by just reading and sounding the words out. They couldn't speak English, but they could sing the songs really well and had great voices. And they always wanted me to come and sing. Now, I'm not a great singer, but they didn't care. They loved it. And we just hang out nongkrong for hours on many of the Saturday nights, and geez, it was just a really good sort of feel, you know, just getting out there and belting out some tunes. Oh, I can see a car up here that I know people are going to go crazy for. Look at that thing there. That's an old Statesman. Oh my, that is a beautiful looking car, isn't it? That is in great condition too. How much are they worth in Australia these days? Looks pretty clean. Pretty nice car. Beautiful car. Beautiful car. Worth like 20,000 or something, wouldn't they now in Australia? That's the other thing that happens in a lot of these villages on Sundays or Saturday nights is the loud music starts to fire up. And it could be dangdut, you know, that local style of music. Yeah, the thing is that if you don't like that music playing, and like the kampungs are really sort of close, people live closely to one another, and you can hear everything that's going on in the other houses. If you don't like that music going off, it's actually quite difficult to do anything about it. Like, let's just take out of the equation that you're a foreigner, but let's just say you're a local and your local neighbour is sort of causing a bit of a ruckus. Well, you do go and complain to the local people, local authorities, like in Java, that'll be the Pak RT, the dude in charge of your small little community. But like, there's no rules. Like, well, there is rules, but they might not do anything about it. Probably won't most of the time. So because you don't want to cause a disturbance with your neighbours, you'll usually just bite your tongue and let it happen. Otherwise, it can cause real big dramas, especially if the person doing it is a bit arrogant and likes to throw their weight around. Like, that's not like a police thing or anything like that. You wouldn't get anyone involved like that. What can happen if you've got two people who are very strong, who are fighting over it, it can get quite vicious. Yeah, so it's best, like for most people, just don't do anything about it. All right, I think I've been here before. I'm in Banjar. Oh, this is Thai Insiat. I know exactly where I am. I'll explain it. So we are in Banjar, Tainsiat, and it all makes a little bit of sense now. One of the most famous Banjar here in Bali, especially when it comes to things like ogo-ogo. And what the ogo-ogo is those big demon beasts they parade the night before Nyepi. And this Banjar is known to have one of the best ogo-ogo in all of Bali, just the best, with all these animatronics and motorized things going on. And the dude that does most of the design for it is a guy by the name of Kedux. Kedux does the design for the ogo-ogo, but not only that, he's one of the central figures behind this Naskleeng scene. He's known all throughout Bali for his artistic ability, and he's asked to do all sorts of different things as far as his design goes. But he also has a custom motorcycle workshop as well, where he will help you build the bike of your dreams for a fee, like a substantial fee, but it's seriously world-class stuff. And he's got a bunch of artisans working for him that can belt out a motorcycle for you or help you with different parts of motorcycles. He's also got a shop here. Here it is, it's open. Is it? Oh no, it's not open. This is the shop. Oh, it is open. This is the shop. He's got a shop here, or Naskleeng 13. I think he's the owner of it, but we'll have a look. There you go. Look at this, mad. Hello. Good, good. Look at that motorbike there. That's the sort of stuff we're talking about, these custom motorbikes that Kedux Garage can build for you. Mad. And they've got all the clothing that might be associated with this scene, all the NK13 or Naskleeng 13 Tigablas stuff, hats, all up here, t-shirts, long sleeves. Mad, isn't it? It's like if you want to get right into the scene, this is what you come and buy, all this stuff. Look at that motorbike up the front there, look at this one. Isn't that a mad bike? That's a different style. Yeah, all that metalwork, Kedux Garage motorcycles, Kedux there. Isn't that cool? So I was just being told that apparently, so they've got the custom war every second year. On like last year it was 2025. This year they've got a smaller event called Naskleeng 2026 on the 29th of August, which I didn't know about, up in the hills. And they're racing all their bikes up there and that sort of stuff. And it's all part of this community, the custom community. It's not just custom bikes being raced, but you know, it's that sort of scene. And then next year there'll be another custom war. Not sure where it will be because the theme park over at Padanggalak's already been destroyed, so it'll have to be a different location. I have Diddy here from the shop. He's going to take me to the garage around the back where they're actually making the motorbikes and doing stuff. He explained that Naskleeng Tigablas is more to do with, there are 11 members of this community. They're like brands or owners who are trying to promote this whole custom motorcycle, skating, cycling, music thing. It's like a scene, counterculture scene here in Bali, and they obviously sell merchandise at the shop. Ada cafe baru juga?
Yeah, coffee. Kita
Buka hari ini?
Yeah, setiap hari.
Okay, so they've got a coffee shop. I might go and visit that as well, see what that's all about. So I love it. I love it because what it is, this is actually Bali culture, but an aspect of Bali culture that we're not really familiar with. It's different to the traditional Bali culture. It's a new modern culture that's all to do with art, style, and custom motorcycles. I love it. So this is the garage. Look at it. Magical bikes. Look at this one here. This is actually Kedux. He's the guy that does the ogo and everything. Like he's the real artist behind all this sort of stuff. So look at these bikes. Amazing. On the go. And you know, you can get stuff done here. Now I'm not exactly sure whether like if you want to go and buy a bike, you're going to be able to get one. But certainly they are craftsmen and they're doing stuff. And I know my mate Scott gets stuff done here when he needs it, like bits and pieces that he wants modified, he'll get it done here. Yeah, mad, isn't it? Then you've got these people who are so creative, putting them into these really value-added things as well, where you can, yeah, get a bit of money from it. Love it. Okay. Kasih Kedux. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Now this is where they get the paint work done and the pinstripes and everything. Look at that, very detailed work here. Amazing, amazing. Thank you, yeah? Yeah. And this is the workshop from above. And they've got this little oven thing to set the paint in there, look at that. Amazing, all the bits in there. Amazing, amazing place. Look, if you love your custom motorcycles, this is a place you've got to come. Really. Makasih ya. Okay, tada. Okay, so there you go. They've actually, that event that I was talking about on the 29th of August, they've got an Instagram page, and it's NK13 Naskleeng. I'll put it on the screen there so you know what I'm talking about, because it's actually hard to spell if you want to get more details about that. And if you're interested in custom motorcycles and you're here in Bali, well, you can just pop in there. What's that? Oh, public bus goes past here as well. Goes to Ubung. Okay, public bus. Yeah, so you can pop into these places, have a look around the merchandise shop if you want to buy a couple of shirts or other bits of merchandise. Have a look in the garage if they're open. I'm going to their coffee shop now, which is apparently up here if I walk 15 minutes up on the left. When we think of a country like Indonesia or like Russia or France or whatever, we have very simple pictures in our head of what these countries are. And it's just a way to sort of pigeonhole them, really. And with Bali, we have these images of the traditional Bali, the dancing, the traditional dress, the ceremonies and that sort of stuff. And they are real, but Bali is so much more than that. Indonesia is so much more than that. And what I like to sort of explore a little bit is all those little quirky offshoots of culture that we don't really see too much of. This is one of them. This whole custom motorcycle thing for me is so interesting. I don't like I'm not a motorbike person. I'm not a car person. I'm not into it. Oh, look at that motorbike. That's cool. Hello. I'm not into them, but I love this because there's a whole environment there, or a whole sort of subculture there that's really just interesting to explore. And I reckon it's pretty cool. It also mixes the art that I really love here in Bali into a particular culture as well. It's pretty cool. It's actually why I absolutely love that Tuxedo Studio custom car factory not too far from Sonora as well. I think I showed that probably a couple of months back now, and that is another one of those subcultures that we don't hear too much about, but is sort of bubbling under the surface. And if you're sort of interested in art or workmanship, you can really sort of fill your boots there and enjoy it. Look at that, es kelapa muda, 5,000, might get one of those. You can see here, they're preparing es kelapa muda berbagai rasa. That's a variety of flavours. That's what all this is here. You probably don't know what each one is. Makasih ya. Yeah. There we go, 5,000. I got myself a little young coconut juice, what is it, water? With a bit of grated coconut in it. You can get a lot of different ones with different things in it. And there it is. This is what happens when you're out in the sticks. You get the real prices, 5,000, pretty cheap, eh? The thing about an es kelapa muda, it's usually got a bit of lime in it, and I can see a wedge of lime on top, so I'm gonna try it. Oh, that is amazing. Absolutely amazing, that coconut water. Like, it's pretty hot today. So refreshing with a bit of lime in there just to cut through that thickness of it. Sometimes with the coconut water, it's got a bit of a, I don't know what you'd call it, thickness. Almost like a cloying taste. And I love the lime in it. Okay, here it is, 13. Let's see what the story is. All right. It's pretty dark in here. Oh, that's the bike that's going to be a lucky draw at that event, that Naskleeng. Nice. Oh, they've got little pastries as well. Salt bread. Mad. Hello. Got the fans going. Hello. Nice place. All right, got myself a hot cappuccino and a pastry. They reckon that's pretty fresh. And a glass of water. Let's give the coffee a go. Big Tiga Belas on the front. Love it. Love that coffee. Quite strong. Great temperature, and that milk is beautiful. To be honest, the level of coffee I'm getting in Bali these days is pretty much world class. Let's try the pastry. Good. Pretty cool place, that one. Pretty cool. Good coffee as well. 28,000 for that cappuccino, which is a good price, isn't it? It's funny, the further you get away from the the main tourist areas, the cheaper it gets. I mean, it makes sense, but it's really noticeable, you know, really noticeable. You know, that coffee I had the other day at 7 a.m, which cost me 58,000. I mean, it was no better than that one I just had there. It was good coffee. Yeah, but I guess you're paying for the venue, aren't you? Well, that's it for me today on Hari Kemerdekaan here in downtown Denpasar. I've had a good day having a look at a couple of coffee shops. Going into Naskleeng 13 merchandise store, having a look at Kedux Garage and go to that cafe there. Love it here in Denpasar. Feel totally at home, and I think most people could just give it a chance. Give this place a chance. I reckon it deserves it. Might need a bit of sort of repetition to get, you know, past some of that discomfort, but once you get into it, unreal place. Thanks for coming along for the ride today, and thanks for watching. Thanks to all the members who have recently signed up. Really appreciate your support. Make sure you hit that subscribe button to keep up to date with all things Sonora and the rest of Indonesia. I'll catch you next time, and sampai jumpa.